shadow of the upcoming Guitar Hero 3 and Rock Band, Guitar Hero Encore Rocks the 80s has arrived. The game provides 30 new tunes for the song-starved, all from the era of Reaganomics. But is the kitsch enough to justify the purchase? Not surprisingly, Rocks the 80s doesn't introduce any new gameplay mechanics to the franchise. The game is as responsive as ever, and you can start playing it at whatever difficulty level you were most comfortable with in the prior titles. Similarly, Rocks the 80s provides no new advancements when it comes to modes. All of the improvements made by Guitar Hero 2 remain here. Cooperative play retains the lead-based distinctions and hasn't gotten any less fun. The game begins to show some cracks in its armor, however, when you go to select your characters and find only 5 waiting for you. You can, of course, unlock the Grim Reaper, bringing the sum total of playable characters to 6, less than what we've gotten in the past. From the opening logos to the retooled opening cinema, the game throws so much 80s at you in the beginning that you half expect cocaine to come flying out of the PS2's vents. However, as you actually start to play, you'll notice that the care taken in the opening seconds of the game starts to disappear. While 5 of the 6 characters have been legitimately 80s-ized, the rest of your band looks exactly the same. And while the venues have received some new neon colors, they don't really scream 80s either. Also, as you play through song after song in Guitar Hero Encore, you begin to realize something previously thought impossible in the Guitar Hero franchise. You realize that you're bored. Don't get us wrong, there are definitely those patented Guitar Hero moments when a song you've listened to ambivalently for your entire life suddenly becomes amazing. But that experience doesn't happen as often as it did in the past. And that's the unfortunate thing about Rocks the 80s. If you think about it, a lot of quote-unquote rock from the 80s sounded alike. Countless hair bands emerged, but most of them only had one good song to offer. This is reflected in the song selection. With only 30 available, half of which are average at best, the thought of spending $50 becomes pretty unappealing. Rocks the 80s is frustrating because of what it could have been. Focusing on specific decades in music is a great idea, but perhaps it was a mistake to focus on an era in which a large amount of songs opted for synthesizers instead of guitars. Or if you are going to do it, then commit fully to the idea. Throw out some of the more boring hair bands, put a guitar in your character's hands, and offer some of the 80s' other memorable tunes. Had these songs been delivered at a lower price or as downloadable content, it would have been easier to swallow. As it stands now, though, the game gives the impression of an inspired idea that no one felt like putting time into. Who would have thought there would ever be a day when a new Guitar Hero release would be met with such a tepid response? Maybe it's the price, maybe it's the looming threat of Rock Band, but at the end of the day, Rocks the 80s fails to excite. Ultimately, it ends up as so many unlucky bands from the era, forgettable.